A key, a keyhole, and time. They needed all three of those together. The elevator's always had a bellboy / guard standing in front of it, so he can use that. By taking this route at this time, he was supposed to be able to avoid bumping into any of the lookouts. Supposed to. Even so, that wasn't certain. The lookouts could create all sorts of exceptions on a whim. At times like this, walking boldly was the best way to avoid suspicion. Always. To walk as though it was perfectly normal for you to do, to be right here, right now. However, he still walked very quietly, hiding his footsteps. Oliver thought he had, or probably been so short-tempered because he was easily frightened. Because he was easily frightened, he couldn't bear the fear in front of him for even a second. That's why he had surrendered his heart to anger. Being quick to pick fights isn't cool. Yeah, that's something cowardly. That's something a cowardly fool does. I feel like we could just say coward there. Cowards tense up, stiffen their muscles. In other words, they can't draw out their full potential. There's no medicine to cure idiocy, but cowardice is different. The medicine is confidence. There's a lookout in a place where there wasn't supposed to be one. He wasn't supposed to be here. He should have been behind the pillar further back. He's probably been lured forward unconsciously by Zell's singing. His gaze appeared fixed on the stage below. Walked past him. Oliver didn't want to get into a fight in a place like this. He had more than enough confidence in a one-hit KO. Even so, the odds that were working weren't 100%. This wasn't the place to test his luck. I mean, also, someone could just see him. In that case, he'd have to quietly pass behind the man's back. At a glance, the man seemed fixated on Zell below. However, that doesn't mean his heart had been fully absorbed. If he noticed the faintest thing out of place, his sharpness as a guard would return in an instant. Something out of place, yes. Footsteps. If he felt footsteps that seemed scared or suspicious, he'd notice something off and turn around immediately. However, if they were truly casual, normal-sounding footsteps, it was possible that he'd unconsciously decide they belonged to an ally and ignore them. If Oliver thought about it, weren't stray alley cats an extreme example of this? When people pass by without taking notice of these cats, they remain calm without showing the slightest interest. However, if anyone notices the cat and changes how they walk in the slightest, the cat will notice that once and run away. That sort of pissed me off. So when I saw a stray cat, I'd immediately yell at it or kick a can at it. If it was going to hit me and run away, anyway, I'd rather start off chasing it first. How dumb am I? Yeah, right now I'm a wandering dog, but I'm not a dog. I'm a wandering cat. Hide in your breath like a cat, and smoothly walk away like a cat. The man muttered something, but he was clearly talking to himself. He's probably just impressed with Zell's singing. Zell's beautiful voice rang out. It was without a doubt the best she's ever sung until now. Because of that, the man was rooted in place. His back was even more unguarded than usual. The man let out an appreciative sigh at the beautiful singing voice and shrugged. He glanced left and right to see if anyone had noticed him slacking off. It's okay, there's no one there. Memed. Reluctantly, he returned to his position. By that time, Oliver was already going up the stairs, heading toward the 5th floor. Good. The 5th floor probably had more guards in it when Wang was in the other owner's room. However, Wang was downstairs right now. There should be a lookout. Just the lookout in front of the treasure vault. When I go around the corner, I'll be there. He clenched his fists. They were covered in sweat. He used the breathing techniques he'd learned from Lee to ready himself. Unlike a street fight, there was no need for reckless courage. He had to strike the vital points, cold-bloodedly and accurately as a reptile. I am a lizard. He stopped breathing. A sensation spread out widely inside his eyes. The world expanded, and he felt pressure on his eyelids. Let's go, Oliver. If you really want to repay the debt you owe Zell, then at least succeed in the first step. Bam! Get out. I don't even want to go for 4. Fuck it. No doubter. Knock his head off. He flexibly extended his leg beautifully honed in on the man's head. You could see in slow motion as the face of the man's expression was twisted and he spat out bubbles. Dead. At the time, applause rang through the main hall. The man slumped over and showed no signs of getting up. It was as though the applause was in honor of the splendid one-move victory. I did it. I did it, damn it! If he had been truly cold-blooded, he should probably have finished off the unconscious man, silencing him forever. Yeah, I mean, just break his neck. However, Lee had asked them to avoid taking the lives of his countrymen as much as possible. Even if he hadn't, it wasn't Oliver's character to finish off a man who was now powerless. Theoretically, you can just easy peasy, never have to worry about it. Because there's a chance he wakes up, he notices you, and remembers you. Sorry about that, sit tight for a while. He turned the man over and bound his hands behind him with the black market U.S. Army duct tape he had brought with him. You should probably bind his mouth too, just in case he wakes up. Of course, he also wrapped it around the man's mouth. Yeah, there you go, buddy. With that, the entrance to the treasure room was secured. It's perfect. Oliver had completed his first job. So now the door is ours. Now we just need the key and time. They had to steal the key from the cautious Wang and unlock the door during the short time the clocks were chiming. At that moment, a noisy, complicated, metallic chorus rang out through the restaurant. It was the chime for 7. It was only possible to open this door during that chiming. However, he still didn't have the key. It was still in Wang's pocket. Before the chiming stopped, they had to get the key and put it into the keyhole of the door Oliver had secured. It was absolutely impossible. There's no way they could accomplish it. I get what they're going to do. So Charles is going to steal the key, toss it to Nina. She's going to cock it onto the slingshot. She'll launch it up to the 5th floor, where Oliver will catch it, slam it in the lock, open it. However, the impossibility was about to become possible. The key was in Wang's pocket. His hand went inside and was pulling the key out this very moment. Why? So he could let Rose choose a drink from his prized treasure box drink cabinet with a special device in it. Yo, he's about to get memed. That key was pushed into the keyhole, and slowly it was opened. Come, Madame Rose, what shall we try today? There really are so many kinds, it's hard to choose. With the key still in the keyhole, the doors were open wide. Zell walked among the seats, communicating with the guests. They knew she was a Japanese songstress, but they were surprised and impressed by her fluent Chinese. Zell's and Wang's eyes met for an instant. Wang's eyes were unconsciously fixated on this girl, who had a charm that would have been unthinkable for the girl who he had greeted in the owner's room. Since ancient times, songs were thought to possess a strange power. She has me wrath. Surely the magical power also dwelled within the songstress who sang these songs. Because she reached that level, she was able to draw the gazes of all the people in this restaurant. The mysterious attraction took hold of even Wang's eyes and didn't let go. Rose picked up a bottle and was inspecting it. Rose's body formed a barrier. and the key left in the keyhole of the still open door was in a blind spot. Oh my fucking god, meme! Replace the key. In that instant, Charles didn't miss that Wang's concentration had been stolen by Zell. The complex and mysterious metallic chorus of chimes continued. That moment, everyone's minds were distracted. This was the perfect moment. Let's go, Nina, are you ready? Then he turned around. Charles jumped. From her position in the shadows of the pillar, Nina shook her head, as though saying not yet. Nah. What was it? He figured it out at once. A fickle waiter had been overwhelmed by Zell's charm and was standing still in front of the pillar. He was too close to Nina. She couldn't do her job like this, and it's only a place where they couldn't afford it for people to be. Charles and Nina were already hiding their presence and melting into the shadows. They showed themselves to move the bellboy out of the way. They would draw someone's eyes. This perfect chance would be wasted. I swear to God, should they wait for the waiter to leave? They couldn't. Of course, the chiming clocks would last for a minute at most. Once the chiming stopped, they wouldn't have any more chances. They'd never get another chance where Wang removed the key from his pocket, carelessly, left in the keyhole and let a guest into that position. Looking down then from the 5th floor, Oliver picked up on the tension as well. Damn it, what's wrong with that waiter? Go away! Come on, go away, blockhead! No matter how much she yelled inside her head, it wouldn't reach him. The waiter just stood at the most inconvenient spot holding a tray. So what should we do? Zell had also noticed. No one could do anything but about the waiter still in an unexpected fatal position. If he had at least been a guest, Zell could have interacted with him somehow, maybe by calling out. However, this was a waiter. It would be unnatural for a songstress to call out to a person who wasn't a guest. They were short-handed. They were missing one more move. Time, their precious time and opportunities were running out. At that moment, a jarring metal sound rang out. It was the sound of a knife and fork falling to the floor. Wayne's elbow had knocked them off, bumped them and knocked them off. It wouldn't do to make a guest pick them up. The waiter noticed immediately and dashed forward. With that, the obstacle disappeared. Easy. Oh, are you not good at using a knife and fork, Wayne? Shut up! Then why don't you eat with chopsticks like normal Chinese people? There was no doubt Wayne had lent a helping hand. He had rejected Zell and said she was no longer one of his comrades, but he had saved her. Wayne's feelings were felt by everyone, and in that moment all obstacles had vanished. Easy. Let's go. Charles, please do it. Gotta go. Charles walked casually with the violin in his hand. However, he continued to aim for the key, which was still in the keyhole of the drinks cabinet. Madame Rose also knew of the plan and intentionally stalled for time, blocking the view with her body. It took her a while to choose a bottle, so Wang got bored and ogled Zell's legs. I would too. This moment, with the key left carelessly in the keyhole, was their only chance. Heist. Get it out. Next. One hand was blocked by the violin. The other hand was holding the bow. With a truly casual, subtle Charles smoothly pulled the key from the keyhole. Then, without turning around, he threw it behind him. It flew accurately towards the shadow of the pillar, where Nina was waiting. Nina, it's all on you. Leave it to me. Let's do it. Bang. Nina took the key to put it in her slingshot. Then she aimed for the dimly lit open area above her. Hiya! Ooh. Easy. God, fuck. Take me. The gold key flew like a shooting star off through this dark night and into the hands of Oliver, who was leaning out of the overhanging corridor on the 5th floor. The course of clocks was still continuing. However, it would end soon. Clocks with shorter chimes were finishing one after another. Oliver, we're counting on you. Perfect. Leave the rest to me. Oliver dashed up to the door of the treasure vault. The chimes were ending. He had no time. Put the key into the hole and turned. He clearly felt the door unlocking. There was no doubt. Easy. Throw that bitch open. We're done. Immediately after, he had a round of applause for the chorus of clocks coming from the main hall. We did it. We made it in time. He opened the door and jammed his jacket into the gap. Throw that key down. The door had an auto lock. If he did this, there was nothing to worry about. Right now, before attempting a rescue, he had to return the key to its original position. Oliver leaned out from the overhang corridor again and threw the key towards Nina. The heavy key was being thrown down from 5 stories up. Catching it would be fairly dangerous. However, there was one thing that they'd already mastered. Just another team technique the three had created to survive during the days they lived in the alleys. Nice. It's up to you. After seeing that Nina had safely caught it, Oliver dashed back to the door of the treasure vault. Nina took the key she'd caught, casually approached Charles, and handed it over. Charles put it back into the drink cabinet's keyhole. He turned it back to the perfect angle without shaking anything or making any noise. During that time, Oliver finally entered the room where Zell's father was being held. And he wasn't there. Ah, that would suck. Though it was called a treasure vault, it was practically speaking a jail cell. Except given that it had originally been a treasure vault, it was still a bit more comfortable than your average jail cell. The man who was apparently Zell's father was sitting at a study desk reading a book. He appeared to be confused, having noticed that Oliver didn't seem to be a member of the GDS. I was really expecting, like, he's just not there. Wang's gonna slowly clap his hands. Who on earth are you? Are you Zell's... No. Saijo Hotaru's father. Yes, that's why I'm being held here. Let's confirm that you're really him. What's your wife's name? Yukino. Oliver asked several questions that only family could know, and he talked with Zell about earlier. The father gave correct answers to all of them. There's no doubt this was Saijo Yukishi himself. Who in the world are you? My name's Oliver. I'm one of your daughter's comrades. As Oliver answered, he dragged the bound guard inside. The door had an auto lock. If he stood the guard in here, and even if the man woke up, he probably wouldn't be able to do anything for a while. When the father saw this, he understood right away. You escaped from here. What about Hotaru? Where's my daughter? She's close. This was her final chance to save you. Hotaru, even though I told you to abandon me and run, are you still unable to stop clinging to your parents? Though they'd managed to escape from the treasure vault, this was the enemy's den. There was no guarantee they'd be safe. How could they escape from this building? Even if they could, they were right in the middle of City 22, a massive Chinatown. Zell's father didn't know what sort of strategy had taken them this far, but it seemed far too reckless to him. I don't know how they're actually going to get him out. Follow me. I'll guide you to a place you can escape from. Like, obviously, once you get on the streets, as long as no one noticed you leaving here, it doesn't matter. That moment, he heard an angelic voice. Your daughter is singing. That song will distract the enemies and give us a chance to save you. That's not all. The planning and preparing for the plan was all carried out by your daughter alone. Until he'd been told, he hadn't known if it was his daughter's voice. Well, he does now. That voice sounded like an adult who had tasted the bitter and sweet of this world. He wanted his daughter to abandon him and live free on her own. And any parent with children would think the same. His daughter had refused, because she was still clinging to her parents. No, this was a decision Zell had made, from the bottom of her soul. Zell's a good girl. She'd better life and rescue her father. Now as a girl clinging to her parents, but as a single human being. As a grown fucking woman. Hotaru. Right now, his beloved daughter was bathed in a spotlight and singing in the middle of enemy territory. That courage, those guts, that mature singing voice, were no longer those of a child. Ah, the singing of a young child is splendid. You can cultivate technique with age, but you can't cultivate youth. Yeah, we know you want to fuck her. I do too, but that's neither here nor there. I'm a good person. That's right, I think the young should be the main characters in all ages. Yes, yes. Have you decided on a drink to toast with? It took a while to choose among all these options, but that was pretty fun in itself. Then let's use this drink for a toast. Oh, good selection. Quite refined. I'd expect no less from a leader of ladies of the evening. You know a lot about drinks. Wang handed the bottle to the waiter and closed the door to the drink cabinet. The gold key was still stuck into the keyhole in the door, as though it had been there the whole time. Wang took it, wrapped it carefully in a silk cloth, and put it back in his pocket. Even Wang couldn't have noticed that the key had opened one more door, without his knowing it. I thought they were going to replace it with a different key. I thought that was going to be like really fucking ballsy. Like Indiana Jones replaced shit. But nah, even better. First we'll get just you outside. What about the rest of you? We were invited here as guests, so it'll get troublesome if we don't leave as guests. Is there anything I can help with? As a man, I can't bear to escape before someone as young as you. What I'd appreciate most is for you to escape first without talking. I see. Zell's father couldn't say anything more. At any rate, Oliver had to let the father escape from here. Once that was accomplished, the plan would be more than half a success. I mean, it's child's play once he gets out. They went down to the 3rd floor. The door to the tool room was normally locked, but Jalon had come by earlier and unlocked it. When they went inside, they saw Jalon by the window, whose curtain was fluttering in the wind. She had climbed up here from the outside, broken the window, and unlocked it from the inside from there for them. So to keep you waiting, Jalon, take care of Zell's father. I have a show to do. Jalon nodded, tied the rope she'd brought with her to the window frame, and let it hang down outside. We have friends below. They'll keep you hidden. I'm grateful. I'll never forget what you've done for me. No, don't worry about it. We're comrades and family. I met you for the first time today, but if you're Zell's father, it's like we're related. If it'll make Zell smile, we'll bet our lives as often as it takes. That's what makes us the Wandering Dogs. Please take care of my daughter. Of course. Words. The father leaned out of the window and went down the rope. Below, Lee's subordinates were supposed to be waiting, so that they could hide him in a safe place. He went swiftly down the rope and landed in a back alley. Lee's subordinates immediately dashed forward, put a large coat over him, and guided him to a car. After watching him go, Jalon cut the hanging rope with a knife and disposed of it. Bye. I'll let you handle the rest. I'm going back. Jalon nodded. Oliver had to hurry back to the stage. After all, they would be doing a performance that required a piano soon. Child's playtime. He went down to the pre-arranged route and arrived safely in the waiting room. Welcome back. How'd it go? Oliver grinned and gave her a thumbs up. Charles and Nina latched onto him, hiding their voices while laughing together, sharing the joy. Easy. Almost a straight flush. Nice. Hey, was that 100 mil? Or just 10? Does it say? Nah. 10 mil. Damn. Wonder how high it goes up. Then the four gathered on the stage once again. Even without words, Zell could tell the plan had succeeded by their expressions. Thank you, Oliver. Your father got a chance to hear you sing, Zell. Huh? Now that she thought about it, all her short meetings with her father before now had been sad things, chances to console each other for painful memories. She'd never let him hear her sing. She thought that singing would just bring him more tears. However, by singing together with all the Wandering Dogs, she thought of it as fun for the first time. She felt as though those fun feelings and emotions had been communicated at least a little. Zell could feel her eyes tear up. Apparently, Wayne also understood that the relief faces signified. He finally relaxed his shoulders and smiled as though honoring their efforts. Yeah, you should, bitch. We did something you couldn't even do. And the night went on. Dessert finishes at Rose's table, and an after-meal coffee began. Conversations had died down and a comfortable silence was approaching. At Wang's signal, waiter brought a folder forward. Folders of black and leather, like they were usually used to hold sales slips. Wang took it, opened it up, and held a piece of paper that was inside it to Rose. Shall we get down to business? Yes, let's. I've been waiting so long, I feel like I'm gonna yawn. It's almost bedtime for kids, isn't it? What do you say? This is a summary of our position in writing. If you sign it, then the friendship between the GDS and Primavera will become eternal. And if I don't, then you will lose our protection. What do you mean, protection? We could kill you, but we let you go. See how affectionate that is? Yeah, I can feel it. It would be possible to avoid such selfish methods, and resolve this with total war. We could steal everything away from you. But we don't. Why do you think that is? Because war is futile for both sides. Even if you do take everything away from us, you'll lose more than you'd gain. In the short term, at least. Long term, you might gain more, but is it worth it? And the victor would also be impoverished. That is why Wang does not start a war, even though he could win. Exactly. So why is it that the war hasn't disappeared from this world? The answer is simple, because both sides claim they can win and don't back down. They need to fight in order to prove their claims. However, only one side wins. That means the loser was guilty of a huge misunderstanding. That's why I used a method other than war to demonstrate our overwhelming difference in power and correct that misunderstanding. Can you think of a more peaceful form of negotiation, Madame Rose? It's true. You displayed your power in a way that didn't take any lives. I think the wave of economic warfare that began with soy sauce distribution was a truly gentlemanly act. However, this is still war. Even though there were no shells flying, it was a war. Indeed, the war of the new age, where people don't die. Then the waiters carried in 2 phones. They set one each in front of Wang and Rose. It was as though they were laying out the main dish for the night. Will you sign these papers or not? That will determine how we both use these phones. We might happily confirm each other's friendship, in which case I will tell the Council of Elders that negotiations were completed successfully. Or I might tell them to release the economic attack against the 23 we've been saving, to be carried out by merchants among our countrymen. What about my phone? You might tell Richard right away that you've formed eternal bonds of friendship with the GDS. Or you might tell him that the sale will continue forever, allowing your Japanese countrymen to buy things for incredibly cheap prices going forward.